Hey, my name is Andy Thompson. I'm the middle school director here at North Point Community Church. And I've been working with middle school students for the last 10 years. And in those 10 years, I've seen every trend that you could ever imagine go through a middle schooler's life. And there's one thing, though, that middle school students don't say, but I know is true about them. And that is that they need and want time with you. Now, as a parent of a middle school student or even elementary or high school, you might not feel like that's essential to them, and you might not feel like they actually want to spend time with you. But the truth is that you're still the most influential person in their life. Today is going to be incredible. Our friend Jenny Boyette, who is a mother of 4, 3 of them happen to be 16-year-old triplets. Think about that for a second, is sitting down with our friend Mike Clear, who is the executive director of children's strategy at Orange. Orange provides resources to churches and to organizations that help parents, teenagers, and kids. Mike and his wife have 2 kids and attend Brownsbridge Church. Mike will provide 3 formulas to maximize the time with our children. And I'll be back at the end to provide you with a digital resource that is going to kickstart some conversations.
Well, welcome, Mike. I'm so glad to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Okay, so let's talk about time.
Okay.
I have triplets, and they're going to be juniors, and I am feeling this urgency to get this right.
Sure.
And to maximize the time that I do have.
Yep.
And I want it to be great. Like, I want them to enjoy this last 2 years, and I really want to spend time with them. Mm-hmm. They don't so much want to spend some time with me. Surprise. So I would love for you just to dive in and teach me, master all of that I need to know.
Well, I don't have a lot to teach you. I'll share with you what we're discovering. How about that?
Okay, I would love that.
So, several years ago, our organization started giving parents with kids and teenagers a jar of marbles. Okay. And inside of this jar are 936 marbles. They represent the amount of weeks in the life of a child from birth through high school graduation. So parents who were given these jars, they were given the assignment to reduce the amount of marbles to match the amount of weeks that they had left with their kids and their teenagers, your triplets.
So I'm like, going to have to dump a lot out.
You're going to dump a lot out of here. But then the assignment was then given to the parents to say, once you match up how many weeks you have left with your teenagers, then each week you take out a marble. Each marble representing a week in the life of your child. And what we discovered through this process of parents losing their marbles, if you will, is that it had a strange effect on them, meaning that it reminded them to value their time, and it reinforced a simple principle that when you see how much time you have left, you tend to do more with the time that you have now. Yeah. It helps us to pace ourselves. Mm-hmm. It helps us to narrow our focus. It helps us to guard our margin. It helps us to value quality interaction, and it helps us to become intentional in what we do. Now, it doesn't mean, here's what it doesn't mean, Jenny. It doesn't mean that you have to make every single second count. You have to turn every minute into some sort of profound teaching moment with your kids. You don't have to document every major life event with a scrapbook or Instagram or whatever it may be. You can do that, but you're going to drive yourself crazy and everyone around you crazy. What it means, though, is just that what if instead, when you talk about like we want to get it right, this limited time we have, but what if we just took a more practical approach, and what if we just decided to make history 1 week at a time? And what I mean by that is simply this, is that in our kids' world, our kids just see the now, right? To them, you just had dinner together. To them, you just made a TikTok video together. Yeah. To them, you just shot basketball in the driveway, whatever it is. They just see the now. But as adults, we see yesterday, today, and we see tomorrow. And so we know better. And we know that when we can show up in our kids' life week after week in a variety of different ways, we are making history. If you don't have marbles laying around to kind of visually remind you, we have an app. It's called the ParentCue app, and you can download it on your iPhone or your Android. When you put your kids' names in there and their birthdays, it gives you a countdown clock, so you don't have to have the visual
I was wondering, because I was like, I'm going to need 4 jars of marbles. Need a lot of jars.
Well, to save you money and to save you time to do that and space, you can have the app. So when I get on this app, like I did this morning as we were prepping for this conversation, it reminded me that with my daughter, Kennedy, she is 9 years old, that I have 475 weeks until graduation. And then with my son, he's in middle school. He's a rising 7th grader. And I have 319 weeks until he moves on. So already I'm just like, again, it's a great reminder of when you see how much time you have left, you tend to do more with the time that you have now.
Okay, Mike, so you have 3 formulas that will help us as parents make the most of the time that we have with our kids. I would love for you to tell us what those are.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one I would say is we got to learn to have fun with our kids, right?
Yes.
And whether they're juniors in high school or whether they're a 9-year-old or a rising 7th grader, I think fun over time, it equals a connection with our kids. And the best way to stay connected with our kids is to learn how to have fun with them, because I feel like fun matters, especially to a kid. And I think once upon a time, you're a fun person, so I know fun matters to you.
Fun matters to me,
But
yeah.
for the average adult,
You're right.
somewhere along the way, through our decades of there's the 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever, that we just grew out of that whole thing of fun. And I think if that is the case for those who are watching and listening to this,
Sure.
it's important to remember that fun matters. And if that doesn't matter to you,
Yeah.
then it's time for you to admit that you have a serious problem, meaning that you just have a problem with being too serious. And the only way to remedy your serious problem is to get uncomfortable long enough to get comfortable with the idea of having fun again.
Sure.
Even though the word fun may not be in the scriptures.
Sure.
All of its relatives live there, right? Rejoice in the Lord always. May the righteous be glad. A cheerful heart is good medicine.
Sure.
And one of the fruit of the spirits is joy,
Yeah.
right? So I think fun is a huge thing. And I think fun is actually, it's not a waste of time. I think it's extremely beneficial when we're trying to connect with our kids, because I think fun, it can help, fun can help reconnect what has been disconnected.
Yeah.
And I think therapists have long known a secret that when we play with our kids is that it can actually break down walls. It can
Yes.
actually repair damage
Yes.
that may have been done in the relationship. So that if something has come between you and your child relationally, fun can be the bridge that will help build that trust back with one another. So I think that's important. And I also think with fun is that it proves to our kids that we like them, right? So my guess is your girls know, they know that you love them, right?
Sure.
But do they feel like you love them? And before they may have the confidence that you actually love them, they may need a little proof that you actually like them.
Yeah.
And before they may have the confidence you actually like them, you may need to start having some fun with them. That makes sense, right?
It totally does, because it means I need to get my hair wet at the pool
Yes.
and the lake.
Yes.
Because I just did that with them, and I jumped in with, actually had some clothes on, like
Yep.
not even a suit. And it is something they're talking about now. Like, I can't believe Mom actually just jumped in. And I've realized how much I missed out on just
Yep.
engaging in that fun with
Yep.
them
Yep.
because I was worried about my highlights.
No,
And-
totally. We went to the pool. We went to the pool on Sunday. It was for the first time. Our HOA finally opened up the
Sure.
pool to do that. And so they're like, Dad, get in. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I know when I get in, I know what they're going to want me to do.
Sure.
Throw me, Dad.
Yeah,
Throw me. And
awesome.
they're like 12 years old and 9 years old. And it's not and I'm not a strong guy. So it's
Yeah.
like, or let's wrestle. Let's do all this. And then I finally just said, you know what? We're going to get in there. We're going to do that. We're going to have fun. And that's their highlight from the pool
Yeah,
day to
and
do
then-
that. So it's those little moments.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the big moments to
Sure.
say, let's plan a vacation to Disney to go
Yeah,
have fun.
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's the little everyday moments to look how to have fun to do that. I just want to encourage anybody listening to this. It's like, is it too late? No, it's not too late. What should I start doing? Here's a simple thing, not read a book, not go
Sure.
study this, have fun.
Just go have fun.
And that may mean you go wrestle with your
Yeah.
kids. That may mean you do a TikTok video.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like, what's TikTok? I don't dance. I don't
Learn
do it.
the dance, or
Right,
what a
yes.
woe is, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah. We were.
Well, and I was thinking as you were talking, because around here we've talked a lot about temperaments. And so
Mm-hmm.
some people, like you said, myself, I'm wired towards fun,
Yep.
but some aren't. Some are more serious.
Yep.
But it's almost like if some of those that are more task focused make it a task
Yep.
to have fun with their kids, then they can check that task off. And they may actually enjoy having fun
Yeah.
as well, and
Yeah.
not even realize that that was something that they needed
No,
as well.
absolutely. And I think, when it comes to like, well, my kids don't want to be around me because I'm not fun.
Yeah.
I think this is where, as parents, we have to take the courageous step and just say,
Sure.
okay, I want to learn, like, what do you enjoy doing with me as a parent? And you may not enjoy it. Like my son loves video games. He
Yeah.
loves Fortnite. He loves all, and I do not care, right?
Right.
But I know for me to engage in my son with him, and I need to be interested in the things that he's interested in. And so I'll learn about the different skins. And did you know that this new season is coming out and there's something going on Monday? It's Doomsday. I have no idea what that means. And so it's just like, all right, great. Tell me all about it.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'll even watch him play. And I got to tell you, spending an hour of my time watching him play and acting interested, but if it's helping him have fun with me, or my daughter loves to create stuff, right? She loves to create slime. She loves to watch YouTube videos and do drawing.
No,
I mean, we have
but I'm
slime
with
all
you.
over the house,
I know,
right?
we do too. Yes.
And the best thing that I can do is to say, hey, she's like, do you want to make slime with me? And I'm like, no, I don't want to make a mess. No, I don't want to do this. But I do that because I know that it is building these memories of us together. It's again, connecting us. It's something that we have to do that. So know your kids. What are they into? What are the things that bring them joy? What are some things that you could do to do that? So it might be as simple as it might be cooking a meal together. You know, it might be, like you said, scaring. I love that. My daughter loves to scare us in the car. It might be just going outside and shooting some hoops. It might be building a Lego set. It might be building some slime or drawing a picture, or it might be, I don't know, but you have to find out what it is that brings joy and fun to your child.
And it can be very cost effective. It doesn't have to even be anything expensive. Like you said, the Disney or the activities.
Because most people think, I'm going to take a week out of the year and we're going to go have fun and spend thousands of dollars. And then the rest of the year, you're not?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
It's the everyday moments that you look for. But fun over time, I think it helps connect us.
That's really helpful. I'm actually excited to go and try some other fun stuff. Okay, now talk to us about the next formula, number 2.
Okay, so number 2 is love. And we say it like this: love over time equals worth. And if we want to talk about what kids really need most, love is the best place to start, right? Because if you're listening to this conversation and you believe in God, then we know where this whole idea of love came from. Originally, it came from God. And Jesus even reinforced the importance of love in our lives when he said the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength. The second commandment is like it, to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So love matters, and how we love God matters, how we love ourselves matter, and how we love people matters too. And if how we love people matters, that means how we love our kids matters as well. And in fact, most research suggests that when it comes to our kids and it comes to this idea of love, they say that the younger the recipient of love, the greater the impact. So it's like love with our kids is like investing.
Sure.
The sooner you start paying it in, the greater your return is going to be. But the longer that you wait, the less that you will earn. And so I think it's important for us to find ways to show love to our kids, to help them see this worth. And I think one of the most practical ways to do that is to simply show up in their life, right? To do that. What that means, I know it's the understatement of the year, show up, Jenny. That's all you got to do, right? But it's not just showing up, it's showing up predictably. In that, I mean that your girls know that at this time, whether it's every day or this day of the week, mom is going to be there for. We have her undivided attention in that moment. So maybe it's going to be every morning during breakfast, or maybe it's going to be once a week at dinner at night, or maybe it's going to be a Saturday afternoon, or maybe it's but it's just said because nothing communicates value like showing up predictably in someone's life to do that, right? So we feel like, oh, I have a sense of worth from you, a sense of value from you because you have dedicated this certain amount of time. And again, it doesn't have to be every day, but to focus on me. And for that dedicated time to count, that means that you have to forget about all the other tangibles around you, right?
And
that
your
means
phone, your
you have to
screen,
take your phone and your calendar or the TV or whatever it may be. It's just like, nope, I'm here. This is our time together, and I'm here to show you love, to show you that you are worth it. So I think showing up is the big thing.
So let me ask you a question about that, because when you have multiple children, are you talking one-on-one time to carve that out, or can it be predictability as dinner time as a family?
Yeah. I think it can be either.
Okay.
So again, that's going to depend on your calendar, obviously. Okay. But with our kids, and I only have 2, so I like to make sure we have some predictability as a family. And for us, that's usually revolving around meals. So dinner time, not that we're together around the dinner table every meal, but we have some consistency where a couple of nights during the week we are. But I also like to try to find some time where I just have some one-on-one time with my son and some one-on-one time with my daughter. And again, that's not every week, but it's like, hey, when I look at my month, what can I do a couple of times where I can just take my daughter out and have a daddy-daughter just go get some ice cream
Sure.
right down the road, you
Right.
know, or with my son, let's go and take a walk or let's go do this. So I just think it's looking at your calendar and just saying, where can I show up predictably? And again, that can be for the whole family
Yep.
or that can be individually as well. But
Okay.
I think that communicates worth. I think the other way we can communicate worth to somebody, we talked about this just a bit earlier, is that we know our kids, right?
Yeah.
So knowing our kids isn't like knowing some sort of mathematical formula where once you learn them,
Sure.
they're going to stay the same, right?
Yeah.
Because our kids are ever evolving, ever changing, ever growing beings, right? And as parents, sometimes we can, if we don't take the time to get to know our kids and discover and rediscover what makes them uniquely who they are, we can get trapped into thinking, oh, this is daddy's little girl and she's a junior in high school. And the things I used to like dad back in grade school are not the same. And when you don't know what your kid's favorite color is and what's their favorite food, and you know, when people ask you those questions, they're like, oh, what is my wife's favorite? You know, I'm like, oh my goodness, you know,
that's true.
But when you know somebody and their likes and their dislikes and the things that they're into, that communicates a sense of worth, right?
Yeah,
To do
absolutely.
that. So the only way to know that though is to spend time with them. And again, this isn't about every single day, every hour, and doing a checklist like, tell me, what do you like? What's, you know, what's your favorite drink? What's your favorite this? It's just paying attention and spending some time getting to know them to do that. So,
Yeah, because when you first started talking about love, I'm like, of course we want to love our kids,
Yeah.
but to have that intentional, really being a student of your child and getting to know them, that communicates worth, which then shows love, which gives them a foundation that is so important as they enter into their teenage years and you know start thinking about who they're going to pick as a mate and all of that.
Because I love what you said there. Like, well, love, duh.
Yeah.
But how do you show that in a practical way? How do you prove worth to your kids to say, I love you. I am here for you. And we can say that in our words, but the way we practically do that is, again, with our time. And that we say, we're going to have a designated amount of time, whether it's for a half an hour or an hour, whether it's weekly or biweekly or monthly, but we're going to have something here where nothing else matters but you. And so what's going on? And you know, with kids, sometimes it's like, you know, hey, so what's going on with you? I don't know, nothing, you know? So, hey, how's it going? It's fine, you know, but, and you have, that's uncomfortable. It's like, why am I doing this?
Yes.
But it's important in those moments to like, okay, let's keep asking the questions because eventually they're going to begin to open up. It's not going to be a magical thing where it happens, but me consistently and predictably showing up, that is proving to you that even though our conversations may be awkward as we're trying to figure this out, I love you, right? And another way I prove worth to you is that I know what makes you tick. I know the things that you like. So again, very simple, practical, show up predictably, and then just know your kids. And I think those two very simple things that you can do at any point, no resources required, I think communicate a value of worth and of love to your kids to do that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so our third and final formula, what would that be?
Okay, so number 3, we would say is tribes. And we say it like this, tribes over time equal a sense of belonging. And here's what I know is true of adults and is true of kids as well, is that we all need a place to belong and someone who knows our name.
Yeah.
Tribes are like these relational circles that we weave in and out of as we are discovering who we are and who we're not and what we like and what we don't and where we fit in and everything. And so I think if we as adults need tribes, the same is true with our kids as well, that they need other voices in their life. And we want to establish in our family a tribe mentality, right? Like we want them to know, like, this is your tribe. We are your first and foremost tribe. And you're going to have other tribes with your friends. You're going to have tribes if you're a small group. You're going to have tribes if you're on a sports team. You're going to have tribes if you're over here, you know, but we want you to know, like, this is the place that you belong. This is the place where you are known. This is a place where you are loved. This is a place where you are forgiven. This is a place where you are welcome, right? Like there's always going to be a seat for you in our tribe to do that. What sort of traditions can we create in our family? And you look at your calendar and say, you know, talk about seasonal traditions, right? Let's talk about those. Like maybe whosever birthday it is, like they wear a special birthday hat or whatever it may be. Or whether it's maybe in the fall, we always go to the apple orchard. Or maybe we go and we trick or treat as a family. Or maybe we go and cut down our own Christmas tree. Or maybe at New Year's, we always stay up till midnight and we toast champagne. Or maybe we always go to the 4th of July. Or maybe we always go on a summer camping trip or whatever. But it's those seasonal traditions that your family looks forward to. Like ours is the 4th of July where we have family from out of town that come in and we spend more money on fireworks than we would ever normally spend, traditions that we can do with our kids, but also weekly traditions that we can do. Now, most of those may or may not revolve around food. What I'm not saying is you have to have dinner together
Every night.
every night
Yeah.
as a family. That's the tradition you need to have. But maybe it's going to be like, what could you do around food to say, maybe it's going to be Takeout Tuesday, or
I like
maybe
Takeout Tuesday.
Takeout
Yeah,
Tuesday,
that's a
right?
good one.
Or it could be Taco Tuesday. Like in
Sure.
our house, every Tuesday, we do Mexican food.
Okay.
Why? Because my daughter loves black beans
Okay.
and she loves tacos, and she has a Taco Tuesday kitty shirt that she wears every Tuesday,
Okay.
and it's just our thing,
That's your
right?
thing.
And some days when it's like, Taco Tuesday again.
Yeah,
Okay,
here we
fine.
go.
But it's our thing, right?
Yep.
So what could you do around food? It could be Saturday morning donuts, right?
Yeah.
It could be, family pizza night that we're going to do a movie and a pizza. We always order it in,
Sure.
or maybe once a week we're going to have dinner around the table. But it's just kind of looking at the
Okay.
traditions that you may have that we can do that revolve around food.
Yeah.
So when we begin to establish these traditions, we're giving our kids a sense of tribe
Yeah.
over time
Yeah.
that has a connection with them, a sense of belonging. Does that make sense?
It totally does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you were talking too, I definitely love the family tribe
Yeah.
mentality. We say we're Team Boyette,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that's why North Point has been so important to me, not
Absolutely.
just professionally, but personally.
Yeah.
Because there is a little bit of a tribe mentality as well,
Yep.
as far as like putting the kids in small groups all the way from, babies to high school, and
Yep.
they're with the same small group leaders for multiple years in a row.
Absolutely.
And I think that's just been so important for their growth and knowing they're part of
Yep.
that, and that there's other people involved, other
Yeah.
adults involved. And we have,
Having a tribe is a priority for our family.
Yeah.
So there's our family tribe of the things that we just talked about that we do, but making sure our kids are involved in other tribes in
Yeah.
a faith-based
Yes.
community. That's why Brownsbridge for us is key. That's why Natalie and Northie have been my daughter's small group leaders since kindergarten. So
Yeah.
she's a rising 4th grader. And going into middle school, we knew what our son had in Upstreet, so we were super nervous going into middle school.
Yeah.
But Chris and Noah and Brett have been amazing small group leaders. And especially during this time, they have been showing up on Zoom week after week after week. They have a hiking trip coming up with the guys. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that tribe. You may experience this with juniors and stuff. Like, we'll always be a voice of influence
Right.
in the life of our kids.
Yeah.
But as our kids are growing older, that
right. Yeah.
it's not as important. It's always going to be important,
Sure.
but they're listening to friends, they're listening to teachers, they're
Oh,
listening
yes.
to coaches. They're looking, so we can sit back and hope that they figure out this whole tribe thing and land with the right tribe. Or my wife and I decide to be intentional to say we're going to try to be strategic in making sure we have the right type of voices in our kids' lives.
Yes.
So when it comes to our teachers, investing in our kids educationally,
Yes.
when we go to parent-teacher conference, what do you need? What can we do for you? How are our kids doing? How can we support you? Whether it's resources or whether it's this, like we want to know that you're here for our kid and we're here for you. So what can we do for you? The same thing with the small group leaders. It's like,
Yeah.
what can you do? And Natalie and Northie, you're going on a mission trip to somewhere. You know what? Well, yeah, would you guys mind maybe contributing $20? I'll give you whatever you need.
Yeah,
You know why?
right, yeah.
Because you're investing in my kid, and I am for anyone who is for my kid.
Yes.
Same thing with Coach. So it's just having that mentality of a tribe mentality that we say we're Clear Clan. We're the
Yes,
Clear Clan,
yes,
and we're
yeah.
in this together. And then we have other people who support us and do that. So I
Okay.
just think tribes over time give you a sense of belonging to do
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
That's so good. Well, and it made me think also, I'm a single parent,
Yep.
and some of us watching are, single parents. They have, co-parents. Their ex is very involved
Yep.
and, definitely walking day to day and doing all of those things that you talked about. Some aren't involved, or they may be a widow and they're doing this completely on their own.
Yeah.
So the burden of that feels heavy at times.
Sure.
And I just think the other day, one of the girls, small group leaders, I'd been saying the same thing for, on repeat.
Uh-huh.
And she went out, the small group leader showed up at our house, and they went out and I got ice cream and started talking. And then she came back and it was like this epiphany that she had.
Yeah.
And it was because the cool small group leader
Absolutely.
said that and the old mom didn't say that. And I was
I've been
like,
saying that for years.
exactly.
You know?
I was like, okay,
I
great.
know
I
what
just
I
got
know
to
what I'm
celebrate
talking
that.
about. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but
it's fun. It's fun.
it's so true.
Yeah.
So talk to us about those that are single parents that are feeling this is all super information,
Yeah.
great, helpful content. They're thinking of their marbles,
Yeah.
but they feel a little bit overwhelmed right now because they are doing it by themselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I I want to say I get that.
Yeah.
I empathize with that
Sure.
for sure. And to be able to say when you have to carry the responsibility of providing for the family and taking care of the family, day-to-day responsibility, you are everything,
Sure.
to do that. But I hope that what we've talked about here today is encouraging
Yeah.
to be able to say, listen, you may not have a lot of moments to have fun, but when you do, take advantage of those moments, because you can't control what the other parenting,
Sure.
you have to focus on what you can do. And Andy Stanley has said this leadership quote, leadership is a stewardship.
Yes.
It is temporary, and you're accountable. And I think that applies to parenting too, right? That parenting is a stewardship, right? It's temporary in the fact that one day they're going to graduate and they're going to move on to adulthood. Now, whatever that looks like, they're always going to be a part of your life. So it's not like, goodbye, we'll see,
Yes.
And then we're accountable. I can't be accountable for the other co-parent to do that. I can only do what I can control to do that. And so I would hope that you would look for, again, not every day and not even every week, but look for the little moments when you can just sit down and have some fun with your kids to do that. And when you do that, what that shows them is that you have a connection with your kid, right? And love. You don't have a lot of time as a single parent. Like you don't have a lot of free time to sit down and say, but what little time you can carve out to do something together with all of your girls, or maybe I think kids know mom's time is limited.
Sure.
And when she gives me her undivided attention in this moment, I think it even means more than that in a single household to do that. And then I think the element of tribes, like you said, there's our family tribe, but as a single parent, I would want to make sure that I am trying my best to get other voices in their life saying the same thing that I'm trying to say as a parent, because I know they're not going to listen to me like they do eventually. And that may be an immediate family member. That may be an uncle.
True.
That may be an aunt. That may be a grandparent, whatever. But then you're also going to look for small group. You're also going to look if they're into some sort of athletics. You're going to look if a teacher. You're going to look like if maybe they're interested in the arts. So let's go find somebody, to mentor you to do that. So you're just, I hope it comes across to say the things that we've talked about here today doesn't only, they only work if you have the family unit of this, and this, and this. It works for no matter what your family unit looks like today. And the whole idea we're talking about is just when you see how much time you have left, you stand a better chance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're going to do this, but you stand a better chance to make the most of your time now. And that's what I hope people hear from this conversation that we're having.
Well, and it's been helpful too, because I think, like you said, you are only in charge of your marbles and your wife's in charge of her marbles, although you get to tag team that.
No,
and
absolutely.
so I think knowing that we all have that responsibility and accountability and opportunity, honestly, to just worry about what our marbles are with our kids, regardless if you're a couple or you're a blended family or you're a single family, you can just make the most of your marbles that you've got.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
And even if you have a senior going into high school, again, when we talked about the whole investing thing, the sooner you pay in, sure the more you'll gain. But if you don't pay in anything, you're going to get nothing.
That's right.
So you might not get as much as like, oh, I wish we would have implemented these back when they.
Don't spend the time on the regret. Just take the opportunity
you can live in that
now.
moment, but just do something now with that. So I hope that's what people will walk away with from this conversation to do. So.
Well, I really appreciate this conversation. It's been helpful for me, and I'm motivated to go and scare my girls some more and jump in the pool and fully clothed and get my hair wet. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
We hope that these 3 formulas will help you make the most of your time with your students and children. We've created a resource with your family in mind, and it's all around this idea of having a dialogue with your family members. We want to figure out what, as a family, we can spend more time doing and maybe some of the things that we kind of need to let go. This conversation starter will be great to be utilized around mealtime or maybe even in the car, where you guys can see how to maximize your time as a family. If you're interested in this resource, then please look at the link below and download our guide. Again, we know that parenting is tough, and we know that you want to get it right, and we as the church want to